You go.
Oh, garam. Welcome. Meat here. Tasty.
So who's leading? Wow. I wouldn't say who, but somebody's taking the lead seriously.
Too hot. Well, garam, man. Meaty.
Let me see the progress so far. Ooh, so this one is almost there.
Very hot.
Close. Ooh, I remember I did it.
Oh, I see a few
We
kernels.
have first position.
आपकी अभी
Oh.
बची भी थी
Acha,
Kernels.
close. 2. Ooh. Wow. MashaAllah.
Hot.
Not even one kernel.
Not even one on it.
Good job, yeah. Good job.
The Promised Messiah ﷺ explains the gradual progression in our relationship with Allah Ta'ala and how that changes from time to time as our spirituality and as our understanding of the concept of Allah clarifies gradually. And he gives a beautiful example of a child, of an infant, that when a baby is born, the first things that the baby benefits from is feeding and the connection it has with the mom. And when the mom breastfeeds the child, to that child, the milk that it's getting and the source of the milk is the most important thing. Even before the baby recognizes the face of its mother, when the mother is not feeding the baby, it doesn't matter if it's looking right into the eyes of the baby. The baby doesn't know that this is my mother and this is the source of the food that I'm getting. But as the baby grows and it begins to recognize the face of its mother, and it builds a connection between the breast milk and the face of the mother, and it gets attached to that. And then slowly but surely the baby begins to recognize its father and its siblings as it grows slowly. But he also mentioned that in that infancy, when the baby just recognizes the face of the mom, when the mom is looking at the baby and the baby is happy, and then a small show of the finger to the baby gets completely distracted. But now it starts looking at the finger. But the baby does not make a connection between the finger and the face of the mother, because it's completely detached from it. It doesn't understand that that finger is connected to a hand, and the hand is connected to an arm, the arm is connected to the shoulder is connected to the head, to the neck, and there's a brain in the head that's making all those things work so that that finger is working. Because the baby does not know that these things are connected. And when its attention is taken away from the face, it looks at the finger as something completely different. Similarly, with our connection with Allah Ta'ala as well. The same way that that finger distracts the baby completely from the face of its mother, when we see things in this world that benefit us in different ways, when we don't have a clear understanding of Allah Almighty and His attention that He gives us, we allow that infant that only recognizes the face of the mother and doesn't understand that the hand, the feet, the legs, and all of those things are connected to the source. So when we get a good job, when we get a nice house, when we get opportunities in life, sometimes we're not able to make a real connection between all those things. That there is a mind behind it, there is a real power and source behind it that's making all of those things come our way. We get distracted with the individual things and we forget about the source. But for somebody that grows from that child, from that baby to a grown up, it understands the source and whole body of the mother. And even get to a point where when the baby is told that there will be a time where you'll be independent, the baby cannot understand that. But when it becomes a child and it starts running around, then there's a different way that it looks at his mom. When that child is told that you're going to grow up and one day you're going to leave your mom, you're going to be with another woman who's going to be your wife. The child doesn't understand that. But when he becomes a grown up, a young man, then another need arises. So the Prophet ﷺ explains the same thing with those who are spiritual in nature and understand the being of Allah Ta'ala. Whatever it is that's good that comes to their life, they immediately make a connection with the real source. They never get distracted by the goodies that come in their life. No matter how important or joyous it may be, they always understand and they're humbled by it and realize that the real source of what I'm getting is Allah Ta'ala. And if I don't remember Him, this thing will be a distraction for me. And this is how they're able to remain grounded and worldly things do not distract them from their real purpose. And that is from Allah. No matter how good it is that comes in their life, it does not distract them to a little bit. It motivates them to understand that yes, this comes from the source, and that is Allah. This thing is not independent of itself. No matter how nice this may be today, no matter how excited I may be about that PS5 or the car that I've been dreaming of, that job that I wanted and I thought my life would be straight, those children that I've been dreaming about since I was a teenager, when all of these things come in our lives, initially they're really exciting. And we become very happy that we have this. But after a little while, it becomes a norm. No matter how big or important that may be, no matter how much of a dream it was in our life, the moment they come in our laps, it just becomes a norm after a while. When you have that dream car, people may see that and admire it anytime you drive into the parking lot. But to you, that just now becomes normal. It's about the next thing that you get, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. But when we understand the source, then that same thing that could be a distraction for us, that car, when you understand the source of it, and that is Allah Ta'ala, anytime you see that car, instead of becoming proud of it, or instead of it becoming boring, every single day you see that car, it will give you an opportunity to be grateful to Allah Ta'ala. Because to you, that car means a connection to the source, and that is Allah. If it's that house, anytime you wake up in that house, you say Alhamdulillah, because you remember that this is from the source. It's not about the house. So whatever it is that comes to you, people may be grateful, disgrateful, ungrateful at some point when they're distracted by it. But for you, it's always Allah Ta'ala, no matter how small it may be, no matter how big it may be. When the real reflection that it brings to you is, Allah is the one that made this possible for me. And it's the same thing with things that are not so good in our life. When we're going through difficulties, if that connection with Allah Ta'ala is not strong, then we feel as if Allah is pushing us away. We feel as if we deserve better. We start getting harsh on ourselves. But if we understand that it's just a trial from Allah Ta'ala, instead of becoming disheartened, we become more strong in our faith. We realize that Allah Ta'ala is making me go through this difficulty because He's putting me through a trial. And this will make me stronger. Instead of complaining, it pushes us to be more humble and to pray to Allah Ta'ala. Instead of saying, why me? We will say, Alhamdulillah, that I'm able to realize that this is a trial from Allah, and it will help to strengthen. So indeed, it is the real efforts that we make to make a connection with Allah Ta'ala that will draw our attention to everything that comes our way, whether it's good or bad. It will always take us to the same source, and will make us grateful to Allah Ta'ala. So may Allah Ta'ala enable all of us, and our families and our children, to be able to recognize everything in our environment, everything within our means, all our resources, whether good, bad, whether mediocre, whether boring, or whether it's great. We always see everything around us and let them remind us of the source, and that is Allah. And so those things won't make us arrogant, would make us boastful, or would make us to lose hope and despair, but they would motivate us to always remember that Allah is the source of all things. And those things will humble us and make us remember Allah, pray to Allah for forgiveness, to strengthen us in our faith, so that we will also be, inshallah, to benefit others around us, to spread that understanding and for others to be able to see it in us and reflect upon it and can also act upon it, inshallah. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Once again, Jazakallah. This is very good, it's very simple. You know, it doesn't require a whole lot of setup. The main thing is showing up to be there for one another. See cheerful faces, and just continue to answer these calls and make sure that inshallah we come at moments like this with our families. And remember, again, the root, the main thing is continue to help each other to build that connection and to grow as brothers in faith. Jazakumullah, so Rizal and Endeavor takes the sub as well for organizing this, and to everyone else for coming. Jazakumullah.